There are two talks on SPC, and for the benefit of people who just walked in from planet Mars or Detroit, which is almost as far away.
But we have the trans to move from.
Unfortunately, we don't even have the trans to move from. But classic SPC is, which Ann's going to talk on, is kind of like classic Coke, right? That we had a new version. It's the old one that comes from 1890, and well, no, but everyone agreed that it was too fizzy and wasn't quite sweet enough. So we went out to replace it with new SPC, and having done so, we found out that people started walking around with big T-shirts that said, "Bring back classic SPC." And in particular, new SPC took a lot longer, and so we now have two SPC things: the one that you can ship right now, and the one you can ship in a little while. And so the first one is classic SPC, which Ann will talk on, and which started out a long time ago with Kathy, and then went through several iterations and evolutionary change, which I'm not sure I even remember, couldn't talk on. But anyway, it sort of reached its greatest evolution in Ford underbody, and since then it's kind of more or less stabilized, I think. But so we'll talk about that, and then Bill will talk about the new one that we're trying to get out of them.
Gaging systems do things. They check spec limits, but they also are supposed to be looking for process problems. Okay? The whole point of SPC is to try and detect a problem in the process producing a part before the part is so bad it goes out of spec. Okay? Not very good at view graphs. You never know how big to make them. What I've tried to do is summarize what's in the old SPC, what's in the new SPC, and what we have some separate software to support that is kind of SPC related. Both packages do the basic data collection and storing SPC data. The old package doesn't do any spec limit checking. You have to write your own custom spec limit checking function if you use the old SPC. The old SPC does not archive the raw data, that is the actual measurement values that are passed into it on a Winchester. The new version will. Nancy Mulholland, however, has written software which is easily configurable to do this, and it runs in both Rev 5 and Rev 6. Both packages have trend analysis and process capability study. SPC right now does not contain any graphics. Graphics are a big deal these days. Perceptron has very nice graphics along with their package. Essentially what they do is they display the part that's being engaged and the status of the measurements at each gauge point location. Different charts are, but I just made up an example to show you how you do what is an X bar chart, what is an R chart. This is just an example which shows 10 pieces of data coming into a system. In order to calculate the values for the X bar chart, if I've configured my system so that I have 5 samples per subgroup, I just average the first 5 values and calculate a number which is my first point on my X bar chart. And the difference between the maximum and minimum value gives me the corresponding point on the R chart. Okay? So in this example, I had 2 subgroups of 5 samples apiece. Okay? And so the SPC charts that go with that data would look like this. Okay? There's a single point plotted for each subgroup at the time that subgroup is completed.
Moaning and groaning about the AMS SPC package. I guess I'm the one that should moan and groan because I kind of inherited it, and fairly recently. It's a package we contracted AMS, which is an outfit out in California, to do for us and to basically give us a flexible package that was within the scope of Rev 5. So what I'm going to do briefly is just tell you what the features are and try and give you a report of how it exists as we know it today. It's going under enhancements. We have it installed in no system, so you know, some of the measurement data and stuff that I give you is you know, is certainly subject to change, and it's an area where we're trying to make some improvements.